So we are still waiting for all the guests to fill up the room, and we will begin our conference and our meeting in just a couple of minutes. So still the ones who are outside enjoying coffee, you can still enjoy the coffee inside the room. So we welcome everyone here, and we will start any minute now. Okay, so good morning, everyone. My name is Karolis Žemaitis, and I'm the advisor to the Minister of Economy and Innovation of Lithuania, and I have the honor to welcome you here in Vilnius, Lithuania. And it's always a pleasure to have colleagues from the region who knows the struggle of promoting tourism when it's plus 15 during the summer and it rains every second day. So it's always a pleasure to have you here. But on a more serious note, we are here for a very symbolic and a very important occasion. And a few moments ago, 5 countries already signed a joint statement on tourism. This is the first time in the history of the Ministry of Economy that the 5 countries are actually signing a document, and especially on tourism. And it's a very symbolic but also very important sign of support, first of all, to Ukraine and promotion of our countries as a safe and prosperous region. So this summit will provide an excellent opportunity for us to meet and discuss the priority actions to support Ukraine and to restore the tourism ecosystem in the overall region, and to discuss the ways how are we going to collaborate in the region and how we are going to collaborate with Ukraine after the inevitable victory of our neighbors and family members in Ukraine. And right now I would like to, for a short welcome remark, I would like to welcome to the stage Madam Minister Aušrinė Armonaitė, Minister of Economy and Innovation of the Republic of Lithuania.
Thank you, Karolis. Good morning, colleagues, friends, brothers, sisters from all over region. I think we will have a great psychotherapy session because we have common goals, common challenges, and it's not only the war that is happening nearby, but also it's been 2 years that were quite tough for the tourism, not only in this particular region, in this particular neighborhood, but also all around the world. And we have withstood COVID. We have learned how to live with this deadly virus. We have formed Baltic bubble that is now world known. And now we have to withstand a cruelty of Putin's regime that is attacking our brothers and sisters in Ukraine. And I'm very glad we have Mariana here. She came straight from Ukraine. And this means that our work and our lives haven't stopped, right? We have to do our homework. We have to schedule our plans. How are we going to help Ukraine recover? We are discussing plans at the Ministry of Economy and Innovation. We are involved in more broader plans of emergency rebuilding of Ukraine. But tourism is something that also is, worth discussing more in depth when it comes to recovery and growth. Now, when it comes to our neighbors, Poland, Latvia, Estonia, I think sometimes people see us as competitors. But it's not like that, especially when it comes to tourism. If a person comes to Vilnius, most likely he or she will visit Latvia and will visit Estonian beaches and rocks, and maybe even end up in Helsinki or Warsaw, drinking beer or vodka or coffee. So this is why we have to coordinate our work. We have to coordinate our marketing. We have to coordinate our public appearances globally. And also we have to invest in the technology part of the tourism. Travel tech is something that we want to invest more in the years to come. Just very recently, we have launched an open data map that will allow our businesses and also public institutions to monitor where the foreign tourists go, how they travel in Lithuania. It is completely accessible to everybody, to our international friends as well. And I think we have to do more of these things together, to share data, to share technology, and share cooperation. So thank you very much for your work that you're doing every day. Ačiū visiems tikrai labai už darbą, kurį jūs kasdien darote. I'm an optimist. I'm sure we will beat Putin, and Ukraine will flourish, and our region also will grow successfully. So good luck, everyone, and Slava Ukraini!
Thank you very much, Minister. And now, as far as I'm informed, we have a video message from Luis Arroyo, the President of the European Travel Commission. The video message is still coming from Brussels, yeah, so the pigeons are still flying. Nevertheless, we move on, and then I would like to invite another very, very important speaker, and the one that I think will share a very important messages. And so I would like to invite and give floor to Mariana Oleskiv, the chairperson of the State Agency for Tourism Development of Ukraine. Mariana, the floor is yours.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for organizing this event, for signing this very important statement, and thank you for all of your support to Ukraine, because our neighboring countries, Lithuania, Poland, Latvia, Estonia, were those who we feel that stand by Ukraine, and you feel our pain as your pain, because all of us, I think we know the past very well, and we know what this war and if Russia will succeed, we're sure they will not, but that will be a bad start for going back to the past we all had, and we don't want to come back. So in these terms, we fight, and everyone in Ukraine is working for the victory and doing everything they can. Whole industries, and tourism industry is not something different, but also it's very important for us to think about the future and think about what we can do now and how we will rebuild the country and how our economy will recover, because it's also very important. And Ukraine recently, I think during last 2 weeks, even Kyiv changed significantly because everything started working, shops, cafes, and we know that, you know, we fight, we donate money to the army, everyone, but we're still trying to live the lives, and I think it's important, and we hope that very soon we can invite also more people to visit Ukraine when it's safe. But at the moment, I will share a little bit of my presentation about what we do now as a tourism agency. And this is just in general our frame of work in the normal life, let's say it. So we do the regulatory work, strategic planning and monitoring, development of tourism project products and marketing. But at the moment, current first month, of course, all of the industry was working on the hosting refugees, making food, cooking for them, and during the and again, thank all of you for helping us to suspend Russia's membership in UNWTO and to make pressure on other international companies to stop cooperating with Russia. That was also one of our goals during first 2 months. But during last month, we started thinking about future and what we can do now to help Ukraine recover. So these are 4 projects I wanted to talk about now. First one is Ukraine Memories. It's important to fix every moment of this war, every story and every place to later tell the generation what is it about. Because unfortunately, because of the Soviet propaganda, a lot of people in Ukraine, especially eastern part, forgot about how the Soviet Union was formed, and that actually in 1917 there was Ukraine was trying to become again independent, but we lost at that time, and during these 100 of years Russia made a lot for people to forget about this fight. And here we see the mission to preserve memory of the events that took place in 2022 and to commemorate the bravery of Ukrainian nation and those who died in the war, and to protect those who have experienced these events. Because people in those places, they want to remember, but this is a very, very sensitive object. So we want, first of all, now we formed a team together with other ministries, with the Ministry of Infrastructure, with the Ministry of Culture and the Ukrainian Institute of National Memory, to make the archive of war artifacts, because a lot of things we see, like a laptop that Russian soldiers have stolen and put in their this vest protecting, that was shot it. So these are these facts, and maybe, I don't know, these even washing machines they steal. This could be like in a part of the museum, but also with some stories, with some journals. And there we need to work with communities, because there is, for example, a place in Bucha where a lot of people were these mass graves when Russians were shooting people just on the streets. The priest was burying them in this place. Later, these bodies were buried in a normal way, but people still come to this place even now. They stand there and they want to feel the local citizens, the relatives of those people, and all the delegation visit those sites, and we need to fix this memory. And for example, this bridge in Irpin, there will be a pilot project picture, maybe you all seen in the old newspapers front pages, where people were hiding this under the bridge. There will be a memorial too. And also this domestic tourism, it's very hard to call it tourism, but still it's a travel where people go to these sites where they can get the reflections, and at the beginning maybe Ukrainians and later international community. Visit Ukraine in the future is also a very important thing for us to talk not only about these sites that were damaged, and when we see the pictures from the war, we see something very bad and destructions, but we want also to show Ukrainian people's bravery and beautiful places we have in our country, nature, good infrastructure, and maintain this interest to Ukraine while we are at war, to visit in the future, to have this extended demand. Because it will be also very necessary for us when the war is over, when it's safe, that people will go to Ukraine, that they would help our economy to recover. So the goals, as I said, is to show Ukraine with our spirit. So our next project is recreation and rehabilitation for Ukrainians who suffered from the war. And we have a lot of resorts, medical resorts. Ukrainian medical tourism was pretty famous, and I know people from your countries were also going to some of our resorts for their health issues. But at the moment, they have not high demand, and they have to close sometimes their medical blocks. And we see that a lot of people, they need this physical rehabilitation and also this psychological. So now we put together all the possibilities we have in our resorts, and then we see what is demand among soldiers that were wounded, and also civilians, mothers with their children. Not all of them want to leave Ukraine and go to other countries, so we can provide that in Ukraine, and then we're looking for the funds of international organizations. One more important issue is work in tourism, because unfortunately, we don't have in Ukraine still the tourism satellite account. We are working on it, and also we would appreciate your help and expertise in setting that account, tourism statistics. But we know that in many countries, sometimes they are not very legal workers, but from 1 to 2 million people are working in the tourism industry. And south of Ukraine, now there will be no season in Ukraine because it's dangerous. When we see the western part, Carpathian Mountains, domestic tourism is still there. People go to the mountains, they want to rest. But a lot of people, they are looking for their jobs. And we are now in the process, it's almost finished, I think another 1 or 2 weeks, of this website, Work in Tourism for Ukrainians, where we would be very happy for your support to spread information about, among the possible employers, and provide this job. But then we want to have, it's important for us to have this feedback with those people, that later, when Ukraine is lack of workforce, when our economy and tourism is recovering, to bring those people back, to offer them programs, to offer them some kind of education and other things. So it will approximately look like this. So we want to be in the hospitality industry. I think this platform later can work more widely, not only for Ukrainians. It will be English and Ukrainian language now. And we think it can become international and a good platform for actually the tourism, employment in tourism and education, and some information in that. So there is, in this QR code is a prototype of this website. It will be ready in as I said, 1 or 2 weeks. There will be a mobile version, chatbots, language adaptation, targeted emails, resume database for employers, and a lot of affiliate programs. Yes, so it will look like this approximately. It's a demo version, and we'll have to how we can try. We will send more information in 2 weeks about it. So basically, for us, the opportunities for cooperation in tourism at the moment is the places for these photo exhibitions in hotel, museums, exhibition halls, maybe airports, where people it's also, I know that probably for the citizens of your countries, we don't need to show as much information because all of us, we understand what is it about, what is Ukraine and what is the war, but there are a lot of tourists also coming here, and for them maybe we can open a little bit more of the information. And just a very interesting fact, just I remember I was in a couple of 3 years ago, maybe as a tourist in Vilnius, and I met one guy in the breakfast. And he was from Germany, and he was trying to tell me and my another Jewish friend from Ukraine that Lithuanians and Ukrainians were Nazis and collaborators and things like that, because he saw it in a museum in Germany somewhere. So I mean, it was a part of Russian propaganda, but we need to fight for it together. And that my friend, he was telling, I'm Jew and I live in Ukraine and there is like no Nazis at all, and everything is okay. But unfortunately, we have that kind of propaganda among other countries. Now, I think we are fighting with it pretty successfully, but previous year wasn't so probably. And then support with the marketing and promotion, and also any kind of grants and financial resources, human capital to help us to with those projects would be more than welcome, because Ukrainian budget now goes mostly to the military needs, and we all understand that's priority number one. And like mentors and communication support with those projects would be will be very happy with that kind of help. And yes, be brave to support Ukraine. We know we are there in the front line, but we fight for the freedom of the whole democratic world. And I know in this room everyone understands it, but together we can help more people and more countries and the whole world to understand what this war is about. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mariana. And I think we have a lot of things noted and a lot of follow-ups to do after your presentation, how we can help and be part of your success. And now we have the very short video message from our friends in Brussels. So we'll now have the short video message from Luis Arroyo, the President of the European Travel Commission, as he is now ready to welcome and to welcome our regional cooperation. On the other hand, we have to understand that this is also a fundamental European question, not only, I don't know, Eastern European, Northern European, or something like that. So now we hear a short word from Mr. Arroyo.
I would like to start by thanking the Ministry of Economy and Innovation of Lithuania for the invitation, the kind invitation to be in this first regional tourism summit for peace and recovery. But unfortunately, I have to be in Lisbon. I could not but come here to leave you a short message of the challenges we face in the future, and most important, the importance of working together to face those challenges. We've had 2 very difficult years everywhere in Europe, in every country. We have faced a dramatic drop in our activity, in our touristic activity, in any region, any destination, any country inside Europe. Finally, we were seeing a stronger light at the end of the tunnel, and we are still seeing that stronger light. Trust is being rebuilt into traveling, and we see a lot of foreigners, and especially from long-haul markets, but also internal market inside Europe, traveling again. But then things changed, and we saw a dramatic circumstance that changed not only our plans for the future, but most important, our view on what tourism means inside Europe. We have recently gathered in Slovenia, in Ljubljana, for the general meeting of the European Travel Commission. The biggest attendance ever. We had 34 members, and we welcomed a new member,
Ukraine. The European Travel Commission decided to invite Ukraine to join the European Travel Commission, not only because we feel that we are much more stronger together, but to demonstrate that the tourism is the industry for peace. And I'm glad that we are discussing this right now. I'm glad that we have Ukraine with us, and we are sure that we will cooperate very, very soon to rebuild this historical and very important touristic destination inside Europe. But it's important to discuss also what we can do together to balance the activity of so many countries that are now suffering more from with this conflict. We have decided also in this general meeting that this was the time to show support to those countries that have been or are still associated because of their proximity to a situation of war. I'm not only talking about campaigns, I'm not only talking about spreading the word that Europe is still functioning and despite all is functioning. We're not spreading only the word that life is normal in any of these countries, but we want much more than that. We want tourism to be heard. We want tourism to have an active role in the recovery of any of our countries, but also in the countries that are suffering more, and mainly Ukraine, the new member of ETC. We want tourism not to be taken for granted. We need support from the governments, from the European institutions, from the international organizations, so that we do understand that this activity that brings so much wealth to our countries is still in the lead to show that any European destination can thrive despite the circumstances. We're glad that this forum is happening in Vilnius. We're sure that many of the conclusions will be taking into account the importance of tourism, but most important, taking into account the importance of tourism as a force for good, for peace, and for recovery. Thank you once again.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Louis. And now let's jump in to the keynote speech, and let's talk numbers and let's talk economy right now. So I would like to invite our keynote speaker, who will speak about the unprecedented challenges of tourism and how we are facing them right now, and how what we should be doing in the future. So I would like to invite the economist and vice president of Lithuanian Business Confederation, Mr. Marius Dubnikovas, to give us a keynote speech on tourism.
Hello everyone, I'm very happy to participate here, and this was a challenge to prepare myself for this keynote. And you know, because it's tourism, it's something interesting, something exciting and so on. So when you do not know what to say to the audience, you have to read Bible, and then to find some keynotes for or ideas for that. And what I'm starting with, there is watching at the economy and what is happening in economy right now. We always remember the four riders, the four apocalyptical riders that might come into economy here, and they are very useful for today's keynote. These four riders are starvation, famine, pestilence, war, and death. And in the regular economy, it is said that we had an opportunity to work with two of them. The first one was famine, or illness, or pandemia, and the other was the second war. So we had two experiences with two of them, and just thinking about will there come the next two ones. I doubt about the fourth one, but this one is definitely here as well. So, so at least in tourism. So 3 or 4 are here. And why I'm telling that? We can see some statistics about how many foreigners are living in our hotels. So we can find out that in the last 2 years, 2020, 2021, we had only 26% of the regular flow of the foreigners in our hotels. So you can imagine what's the starvation of the clients is for the hotels, and what the situation is for the hotels. This is extreme situation that that has to be analyzed and has to be changed, because this sector, a very nice sector in Lithuania that can produce world level services, is starving right now. The next thing, lots of numbers. But the one who introduced me said that we need lots of numbers. So there's a lot of numbers about the major economies in the world. And speaking about Lithuanian tourism and Lithuanian economy, we have to keep in mind one thing. When we are thinking about the most important and most active country in the world that pushes the whole economy to the front, we are thinking about Germany. Germany is a very good exporting country. But you know what's the good idea about Lithuania? We export more in comparison to our GDP. So we are a bit better working country. So we are a very open country. Our economy is open, and it is very it can be impacted by the things that going in the world very easily in Lithuania. So, for example, if we will have a recession in Europe or in the world, we will have a recession here, and this means the recession will harm the sector of tourism that is already being harmed. So let's look at these numbers, and I just want to tell why these numbers are important. So you definitely cannot read all of them and understand what's here, but I will try to navigate through them. The first thing is, what I want to say is jobless rate. Take a look at these numbers. So everyone in the world right now who is willing to work has a work. So this means in the US, the unemployment is 3%, in Japan 2.5%, and Germany 5%, United Kingdom 3.8%, and Norway, that does not that is not in this table because it's a bit smaller economy, is 4%. What I wanted to stress, Germany, United Kingdom, and Norway are the countries where Lithuanians are willing to go for temporary work or just to migrate there, and those countries are full employed, because according to the theory, 5% is a full employment. So, for example, UK does not have workers, working hands. Germany as well, Norway as well. What does it mean? This means that we have a risk here in Lithuania. If the economy will stall at one or another period, the migration can start. The migration to the countries that will compete for the working hands, and tourism is very sensitive for that. So this means there is a challenge looking to next year and over next year and another year, that we will have to save our people that are working in our working places, and the risk of losing them will be quite hard. So this is one of the challenges. Another thing is inflation. When everyone has a job, everyone has money. When everyone has money, it's a trouble in the world. Yeah, it seems like that, because then everyone is spending. When everyone is spending, the prices are going up. And this process started during the COVID, and then after that we got on top war. And war never changes. War increases the prices of the goods, of the commodities, and etc., etc. And what it helped us a lot in the worst case It was that the prices skyrocketed. What does this mean for the tourism and for the sector? Well, it means the same for the whole economy, but for the tourism sector as well, and it's very, very important. Because when the prices are rocketing up, what our workers want? They want wages. They want bigger salaries. And this means, again, another challenge for the tourism in Lithuania. During the last 6 years, the average salary in Lithuania gained 10%, plus minus 1 or 2%, so one on the other side. Every year, last 6 years, we had a 10% increase. So right now, all the servicemen and people that are working in any sector have willingness to get another 10% next year. And it's normal. It's normal to increase the salary by 10%. This is in the heads of all the people that are working for the tourism sector as well. But right now, as you know, in Lithuania, we have 18% or 18% inflation. What does it mean? The workers will come to our companies and will ask for more than 10%, because 10% is normal. It's obligated to increase the salary. And then we have to go further. So here is another challenge for the tourism sector that is loaded 26% of the normal level that was just 2 years ago. So problem with the workers again, and it comes out the problem with the interest rates. Now the new topic that raised just a few days ago when the US increased their interest rate, almost doubled from 1% to 1.75. And what does this mean? What is tourism? Tourism is a sector that uses debt money very oftenly, and it is loaded with a debt from the banks, and is being financed by the loan. So what does this mean? This means that we are entering the period when the interest rates will increase, and might increase quite sharply. If they will increase sharply, then this tourism will get another cost line or additional costs by paying the debts and additional money for the interest rates. So these are three problems and three challenges that are global ones. This is not only Lithuania, this is not only Baltics, it comes from the global markets. And we as representatives of the tourism, we have to keep in mind that. And this means what we should ask from the government as well, or what we need to encounter that kind of problems. So the answer is very, very simple. Jobless rate, one thing. So we need additional hands. We need additional people. We need an open borders by creating a migration policy as fast as possible in order to have some time to prepare this policy and to choose people that suits us. Open borders and take the people that suits us. And then this means we will have additional working power, we will have additional GDP, all the not what to say normal, but all the developed countries walked through that. UK, Germany, France, even the Scandinavians, they opened their borders for the people that are acceptable for them, and that helped a lot. It increased their working quality, their living quality in all the country. So the GDP increased, the economy increased, and that helped a lot. But we do not have much time. This policy of migration should be prepared as soon as possible, because in a few years we might open the borders for all the people that we like, and we don't. So one thing. Another line, inflation rate. We won't do that with that. You cannot fight inflation. You cannot fight the temperature outside this hotel. It's almost impossible. But tourism sector has to prepare for that. This means there will be bigger costs, and those costs will have to be covered somehow. So one of the way of covering is financing from financial institutions, financing from governmental institutions that support tourism. And this means that we have to speak about financing and the price of financing. This means what tourists would need from the government and from supporters. So they will need working capital. And working capital programs is a must to have. In other way, this fourth rider will come into the sector. And these are things that are right now happening in front of our eyes, all over the world. This means in US, China, Eurozone, and others and others and others. So these are the main challenges that are active and are needed for let's say for the whole sectors, but especially for the tourism. Speaking about inflation, I just put a few charts just for information. What is the challenge with the inflation? This is an US inflation right now. Just last month it reached almost 9%, and this US inflation is the biggest from 1981. So this is 40 years we haven't seen that kind of inflation. So this means the fight against inflation will be harder than it was in 2008 and in the millennium and in the 1990s and so on and so on. So it will be harder time. So this means, and how inflation is being fighted? It's being fighted with the rates. Because when everyone has a job in the world and everyone has money, so it's a problem. How the problem can be solved? Take the money out of those who do not know what to do with them. So this means you have to increase the rates. And as I said, the inflation rate is the biggest in the 40 years. And 40 years ago, the standard rate in US with the US dollars was 20%, 20. Not 12, but 20. So that makes to think about something, because the challenge might be quite hard. What's the probabilities of the rates? The probability of the rate, the largest probability in the end of the year, when the last meeting of US Central Bank, the Fed, will have, the biggest probability is that in the US we will have the rate at the end of the year somewhere about 4%. Why it's important for us, for the tourism and for Baltics? Because in Eurozone we have a lag, somewhere about 12 months. What US does in 12 months, Europe does. So if we will see a 4% rate in the US, it might be that in 2023 we might see the same numbers here in Europe, in Eurozone, and this means this is additional cost for the tourism as well, and additional need to have budgets for working capital to compensate the working capital for the companies that are in bad times. Euro risks, the risk in the euro rates is that we are on the bottom, where right now it's the 0. So the potential to rise to 4% is quite easy. Because in the past, the euro history is not very long, because, well, the euro was introduced just in this century, but it was 5%, it's normal. So we can see the same. And Lithuania, as we said, the inflation is 18% right now. Another challenge for the tourism is energy and energy prices. Just preparing for this conference, I wanted to say that energy might be a problem for the tourism, because tourism is quite energy consuming sector. And hotels, restaurants, they are running on electricity. And when I was preparing for this notes, I was astonished. this week, the gas prices increased by 50%. 50. 50. Just because Gazprom closed 60% of Nord Stream 1. And we are running right now in the summer when the gas consumption is at a bare low. And if we will run with the same prices into the cold season, tourism sector will have another challenge. What is the price of 120 euros per megawatt? It's somewhere about 1.4 euros per cubic meter of gas. And this means that the energy prices, electricity, which relates to the gas, might be also increased. And another one is war. War never changes. The tourism was harmed here by the war, the Russian aggression against Ukraine, because we are quite near the actions that are being held. We're just through next border from Belarus. And this region, as a tourism region, sometimes is being treated that there is a risk of war as well. So what we need, we should also need to rethink how to give different messages. One message to inform the internal market and Europe and the world how this aggression is bad and how to fight it with it. But another thing is, we have not to forget that we have to send messages that our country is in NATO, our country is in the European Union, we are a safe country, and this might help the tourism as well, not to push our clients outside to the other regions. So when we are thinking about one communication, informing the world how we understand the Ukrainian fight against aggression. On the other hand, we have to also inform that our country is prepared and it is safe country, because without that we're going to lose the people that are coming into our country and having a nice time here. And just for then, how we are doing right now. So things are being improved, and they are improving quite a bit, I would say. Right now, the last 2 months, only April and May, we are somewhere about 64% in comparison to the same months in 2019, just before the pandemic. So the hotels were booked for 64% of the amount that was 3 years ago. So we are like getting up, and it's a good to know. I think that the numbers will be better during summertime. We'll get back to the numbers that might be about 80%, but this is only forecast. But we have challenges. So just for finishing my presentation, because my time is running out, I just wanted to say that we are improving from the deep stress that tourism in Lithuania had. Just a year ago, the hotels had numbers like 9 to 11% of the activities that they had 3 years ago, and right now we are improving. But the challenges for the sector did not vanish. So we need to think out about working capital, how to support tourism sector, and we have to think about communication to attract people to visit our nice countries that can offer more than others. So these challenges are quite huge, but we can compete against them, but we have just to prepare ourselves. So working capital, communication, migration policy are the key things that we should think of. And those 4 guys won't come in our land anymore. So thank you for your attention, and yeah.
Thank you very much, Marius, for a little bit of economical and a little bit of biblical keynote. And I think the extraordinary times require extraordinary measures. And when it comes to measures, I think it's right now a good time to go deeper into a panel discussion and to go through our region case by case with the colleagues from different countries who are present here today. So I will jump now on the chair, and not to be alone, I will invite our colleagues just in 1 second. If the microphone works, yes, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so now I would like to invite colleagues for the panel discussion. So first of all, I would like to invite Madam Kuli Kraner on behalf of Estonia. Round of applause. Then Andris Chuda on behalf of Latvia, the Parliamentary Secretary of the Ministry of Economics. And Madam Kraner is the Deputy Undersecretary for Business and Consumer Affairs in the Ministry of Foreign Trade and Information Technology. And also I have the pleasure to invite my colleague from Lithuania, Mr. Vincas Jurgutis, the Vice Minister of Economy and Innovation. And also on the panel in person, we have the representative from European Commission, Mr. Eric Philippart, the Senior Expert for Tourism Policy. And round of applause, welcome. And last but not least, online, we have Mr. Andrzej Gutmostowy, the Secretary of State, Plenipotentiary of the Prime Minister for the promotion of the Polish brand. So, dzień dobry, Andrzej, do you hear us?
Yes, of course. Thank you. Thank you. I will be with you.
Perfect. Okay, so first of all, I would like to address our colleagues who are here today. So we have the 2 microphones over there. I hope we will manage to spread them out. So first of all, I think we had a lot of discussions. We had a lot of insights about the situation that has been happening. First of all, of pandemic. Then we have this situation of war. And now the main question I think that is in everyone's heads is, so what should we do about it as countries, and what we should do about it, first of all, for our countries, and then of course we will move on to Ukraine and our international cooperation. So first of all, I would like to turn to Kuli and maybe ask, how is Estonia dealing with the current situation of post-pandemic and current war when it comes to tourism?
Yes, but first of all, I don't know if my microphone is on. Yes, thank you. First of all, of course, I want to thank Lithuanian colleagues for organizing this summit in a very turbulent times of tourism in Europe, but especially in our region. And of course, I cannot not mention that it is terrible that there is still a war going on in Europe. The war which has once again brought into our attention our history and also the geographical position we have. But we still want to believe that tourism and traveling is not hedonism, even if we must admit that the tourism sector is one of the sectors mostly affected by the Russian aggression in Ukraine. But despite everything, Estonian tourism sector is hoping that this summer and also autumn season would be clearly the best after poor COVID years. But security situation still has reduced our optimism. Fortunately, what we see in Estonia is that our domestic tourism is setting records. Estonians have never been traveling as much around Estonia as they do right now. And but we also see, of course, we see cancellation and rescheduling of bookings.
The main negative effect is definitely on package travels and also cruises, because there are many Baltic cruises cancelled because there is no possibility to go to St. Petersburg. Positive is that some of them have found the way to other Estonian cruises ports, for example, Saaremaa and Kuressaare. And then the trend for us, what we see is the last minute bookings. And of course, the tourism sector is seeking the ways to reorient from Russian tourists to other markets. When Russia invaded Ukraine in February, of course, we stopped cooperation with the Russian market immediately. And now we are turning our attention to new markets. So this is the short.
Okay, what kind of markets have you chosen that were completely new after the situation?
No, firstly we are looking still nearby markets, the Baltics, Finland, Sweden, Poland.
Okay. So you didn't turn to Latin America suddenly to
this is our maybe longer term destination. Not Latin America, but maybe some other destinations.
Okay, and let's turn to Latvia now. And I think this is one of the rare panels where when we don't have the problem of mixing up the countries between Latvia and Lithuania. Because I hope at least here everyone can see the big difference. On the other hand, the countries are relatively similar. So how are you handling the COVID situation and the post and the current war that is happening, right as we are neighboring with actual countries who are at war?
Hello, hello everybody. Thank you for organizing the event to the Lithuanian side, and it's a very good place to discuss all the issues what you are asking, and what the tourist industry specialists meet every day. And you mentioned that here at least nobody is mixing us, but the problems are very similar to both of the countries, as we are very close to each other, and also the foreign tourists are looking more likely to the region, not to the separate countries. That's why the problems are the same, mostly. As everybody knows, the tourist industry struggled at the COVID time, and maybe our country didn't make the best decisions in the COVID time, that there was a lot of Latvians who went traveling to Estonia and Lithuania at that time when we was locked down in this term. But we were very happy about the Baltic bubble, what we made, and that is like a huge success at that time. Now we have a turbulence with the political situation and also the inflation things. We definitely struggle for the loss of the Russian tourists, but in politic meaning we are very happy about that loss, and we'll replace them with the new thing. What started now after the COVID is or Latvians who are living abroad and haven't been long time in a home country are coming for a longer visits to see their relatives, to meet the country, and we are morely addressing to them now. That would be one of the small markets in the near future.
So you more actively started to target the Latvian diaspora living abroad.
Yeah, and that shows also in the statistics that the travelers from United Kingdom is coming more to Latvia, and that the number is increasing. But gas prices and energy resource inflation is mostly affecting also the tourist sector, and the costs, as already we heard, is a very big part of the overall cost for the industry. And we are now facing the situation of coming winter, how we will figure that out for the whole country and also for the business in particular.
Thank you very much. Before the conference, we actually we discussed the question of gas prices, and that we'll have to take a bike to go to Estonia or to Poland. That would be a more energetically efficient. And now, just before jumping into the European perspective, I would still like to close the round of the member states, if we can say so. And now, Vincas. So we're right now in Vilnius in middle of June, so already the high season of tourism. So how's the situation here? Because we already managed at least to attract some people from abroad, and we already fulfilled this wish of increasing the regional cooperation and inviting more people from Latvia, Estonia, Finland, and Poland. But how's the situation right now?
So once again, I would like to start with many thanks to everyone who are here participating, and both our partners from Latvia, Estonia, Poland, of course Finland, other countries, also the representatives from all over Lithuania, the mayors who are here, and I hope that this also will bring us more cooperation between each other. Can you hear me? Yeah? Yeah. I hope that it's working, and also thank you, Mariana, for coming here and sharing your situation with us, and I think that we will talk about this more later. But of course, as following up Estonians and Latvians, I would say that there is not many things to add, as the situation is very similar between the countries we are here. But also what is important, and I think that maybe every one of us, we are also trying to do the same things, how to cope with a crisis. So it's not only think about the situation we are having here right now, but also make preparation for the future. And this is the things we are investing in better statistic analysis, new technologies. It's as important as it never was. Also, I think that we should also, what we are doing here in Lithuania, we are becoming a little bit smarter with our marketing activities. I think that the best way to show that we are safe countries is to continue the business as usual. Because if we're gonna speak about that it is very safe in Lithuania or Estonia, everyone will maybe ask, why are you speaking about this? So we have to continue with our traditional communication, but also we have to adapt very smoothly and very quickly to the situation. And this is the task for our National Tourism Agency for this year, as we already learned in the last couple of years, that we have to be very quick to adopt our campaigns, and as we are having them in our traditional markets, both in the neighboring countries, from Poland to Finland, through Latvia and Estonia, also Germany, United Kingdom, we are also, I would say, experimenting more with some markets that are not so traditional to Lithuania, from Denmark to Sweden or Spain, and we are seeing that we have some, I would say, seeds for the future, because we do know that traveling is not very spontaneous thing. Of course, approach is changing, and that is also the impact of the COVID. And we see it in the market, in the tourism sector, that not only foreign travelers, but of course also Lithuanians, we are not so planning in advance. And also this is one of the challenges to the business, to get used to that new type of challenge, where you didn't sell all the packages for half a year or a month in advance. You have many last-minute travelers, and this is one of the things that together the market have to share their experience, and we have to adapt to this.
Thank you very much. So from what I hear, resilience, adaptability, using the local domestic resources, also approaching the quasi-domestic international diaspora aspect is something that we more or less, I believe, share in the region. And right now, let's move to a little bit south. And I would like to ask Mr. Andrzej Gutmostowy, who's joining us online, to share his thoughts about the current situation when it comes to tourism cooperation and when it comes to our cooperation with Ukraine. So, Andrzej, the floor is yours.
First of all, I would like to thank you for organizing this event. Thank you for your participation. As a country directly bordering a war zone, we have seen a drop in booking of hotels facilities across in country. The scale of cancellation of tourist events for coming months is estimated around 20 or 30%. The MICE sector is in a very difficult situation. We are already observing cancellation of Congress and conferences. A very large number of Ukrainian citizens, mainly men, who also work in tourism-related industries, have left Poland to fight for their homeland. Due to sanctions and restrictions, Poland is facing an increase in the price of products, fuel and food, which is also reflected in the well-being for tourist sector. In order to mitigate the direct and indirect effects of ongoing war, Poland is taking action at many levels. Due to rising prices, Poland has introduced solutions called anti-inflation shield to limit them. Moreover, we conduct activities aimed at reassuring all tourists that Poland in a safe destination. Promotion of Poland is a tourist destination, and conducting promotional cooperation are the responsibility of the Polish Tourist Organization. In terms of promoting the region's tourism, intensive activities are carried, for example, in Finland. Moreover, the board is in contact with the Polish embassy in Lithuania and Latvia, and depending on needs, support this institution with promotional materials. A number of interesting activities are being undertaken, for example, in the cooperation with a trade magazine addressed to the local tourist industry called Window Seat. As far as campaigns promoting our country as a tourist destination are concerned, two projects planned for this year of worth mentioning. The first is a campaign promoting city break trips to Poland. The aim of the project is promote Polish cities, including Warsaw, Krakow, and Gdańsk, by presenting them through the angle of the chosen time, so that each of them stands out with different characters. The campaign is implemented under the slogan, Poland more than you expected. Another campaign is planned for later this year. Promoting Poland and Polish attraction is context of broader understood hospitality. Moving to the most important point of our meeting, Ukraine is a very important partner for us, as we try to prove every day. We continue to support the Ukrainian people in every way we can, and we argue that countries to do the same. Our representatives have been visiting Ukraine since the first days of the war, and we are working on the Ukrainian authorities with solutions for the future. Since the beginning of the war, we have taken many initiatives to support Ukrainians also in the tourist sector. In the 1st of March, the Minister took part in a video conference with Ukrainian side, chaired by the Director of the State Agency for Tourist Development of Ukraine, Mrs. Mariana Oleksiy, on the support of Ukrainian citizens by Polish companies, including hotel employees. Poland has pledged support in providing accommodation for the Ukrainian citizens in need and assistance in the find work in tourist industry. Another initiative was announced by Polish Hotel Holding. It made 3,000 beds available to refugees from Ukraine in its hotels and facilities. In addition, we were initiator of the proposal to suspend the Russian Federation's members of the World Tourism Organization. We are confident that after the end of the war, we will help Ukraine to rebuild, including in the tourist sectors. Rich culture, wonderful people, and shared history have made Ukraine a frequent tourist destination for these people. There is no doubt that many of our citizens are keen to choose Ukraine in the destination as a destination again. We hope that this unjustified war will soon come to an end, and that we'll be able to think about building a common future. Thank you for listening me, and I hope we'll be able to find many solutions to help tourist sectors for the next months. Thank you again.
Thank you very much. Dziękuję bardzo Andrzej Gutmostowi for joining us online from Poland, and I think this also brings the perspective of tourism, also starting to touch upon the tourism sector relationship with the Ukrainian dimension, and we'll get that in a second. But before we heard the regional countries, I think I would like to turn now to this to the European perspective, and we are very glad to have the European Commission here with us today, because of course on one hand we treat it as a regional matter, on the other hand it's inevitably also the European question, how the countries will resurrect after the pandemic, and how we will support each other when it comes to the tourism ecosystem. So, Eric, what is the right now the European dimension in this very complex question that we are right now trying to solve?
Yeah, yes, indeed. The good thing about being the last to speak is that many interesting things have been already covered, and in particular, Marius' presentation just took not only the regional dimension, but the European and international one. So I will just add very briefly that what we see, so we have restructure or work around ecosystems, so not only sectors. So, and I'm the godparent of the tourism ecosystem, which include traveling. We have been discussing this morning the question of air connectivity, etc. So, but just to come back to your question, what do we see at European level? In many member states, domestic tourism is now basically back or very close to pre-COVID levels, sometimes higher. Of course, if you are a very large country with a very large population, with a high purchasing power and a small, relatively small tourism sector, you can replace foreign travelers with your domestic market. It's not the case for a number of countries when we think Portugal, Croatia, even Spain, but domestic tourism is back. Intra-EU tourism is recovering, but there, and that's what we hear today, in a very asymmetric way. Spain is overheating. The accommodation, in terms of booking, they are above 2019 level, so they have more than recovered. So Portugal, Greece, so we have an asymmetric picture. Western Europe, Southern Europe, Mediterranean Europe is above 2019 level, and of course those who are most affected by in terms of recovery by the war in Ukraine, the Russian aggression, are of course Ukraine, but then from Finland, Baltic state, Poland, to a lesser level, but we see figures in even the Czech Republic, not bordering, but I mean the Hungary, Romania, Bulgaria. So this is the picture we are seeing, and of course, as the European Commission, as the European Union, we think in terms of balance of payment with the rest of the world. So when oil prices increase tremendously, we want to look at how to pay for that, and basically that's why. That's not why. Sorry, this is recorded most probably, and I don't want to lose my job, but this is one of the elements. Besides, because there are criteria in terms of security, in terms of geopolitical realities, but this is why the Commission 2 weeks ago, proposed to a visa-free regime with Kuwait, Bahrain, with a number of countries, so that the extra revenue of oil can be spent on tourism, for instance. So we are looking also at which long-haul market are the strongest one and open. So that's why, for instance, with the European Travel Commission is, of course, not the European Commission. They had been set up in 1948 after World War II, because tourism is not only about leisure, it's about education, it's about peace, knowing the other, and we stop knowing each other, then you can have any narrative pitching us against each other. So European Travel Commission had been asked to focus on reassurance promotion campaign on North America, because there the booking were still there, a drop just after the start of the Russian aggression. And of course, as you just said, we should not repeat, we are safe, we are safe, we are safe, because other people say, why do you repeat all the time you are safe? So you are worrying people. It's part of, and this is not in Brussels, we have communication people who are skillful with that. You could play on different angles. For instance, in North America, you can pitch the message of proud to travel to Europe, meaning Vladimir Putin is not deciding where I go, so I'm not afraid, but it's a positive way to pitch that. Or, for instance, with ETC, they prepare a campaign together with you, with the national tourism offices, and I finish on that because I know there are rounds of questions, but for instance, for the campaign Open Up to Europe, we did not say COVID, 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 because then people say COVID, 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 but for instance, among the message, the visuals, we had intergenerational images, family with the grandparents, with the kids, trekking in the Carpathian, so nature, bubble, family bubble, safe, but we did not need to say safe. It was consistent with what our health ministry were asking, and it was a way to promote the return of, you don't have mountains, it's too hot in your country, go to a country when it rains one day, one every other day, so at least it's good for your skin. So that's what we can do. And I finish on that. It's anticipation on what maybe I will say later. But the European Union has only a complementary competence in tourism. So we are there just to do to complement what you are doing, or in particular to help you working jointly. And this is where we are justified to come with seed money. We put money on the table, say, okay, that would help you putting your own money into a joint campaign, and that is possibly something we can discuss later on. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And these are very, very interesting and very fulfilling also thoughts for our discussion when it comes to these, you know, different complexities and dimensions of the question that we are now discussing. And I think right now I would really like to jump into one of the main and key aspects of our discussion, and to make the discussion a little bit more flexible. So the ones who would like to reflect on the question, feel free to do that. And I would like now to jump into the Ukrainian case. And in many cases, there is sometimes this kind of notion that we have to separate, politics and tourism. These are the two separate things. Whatever people want to go and have fun as tourists, that's one thing, and politics, war, economy, that's completely another thing. So what is your position when it comes to the tourism's as industry's importance, or when it comes to the Ukrainians' fight for their freedom and for European freedom? And because naturally, for the most of the people, these two questions are not related. It's not something not a natural connection. So how do you see these things connected? The tourism aspect of our overall European war for existence, I would even put it that way. How do you see the tourism's role? So, Vince, please.
Okay, so this is a very serious question, so I will try to break the ice. But actually, I think that it's very important that since the end of February, no one said those things that we shouldn't mix tourism and war, and the messages to Putin's regime were pretty clear. And I think that this is not only about politicians who are making decisions, but also about businesses, and businesses not only in this region but in many other regions, who said that we want to work with partners who are reliable. We want to have customers who are responsible. I just remembered one message from a hotel, if I remember correctly, in Tbilisi, Georgia. When some people from Russia tried to stay in the hotel, they said that, sorry, we do not have a room for you because you have to stay at home and work with your regime and to change the situation in the government. So maybe that's something typical that many people across the world just made. And of course, especially for our region, we also have to adapt to other destinations, to other countries. I think that COVID helped us to start on this, because even during the COVID, our tourists flow from Russia or Belarus were nearly closed or very little, and that is also not because of COVID itself, but also of the way those countries were dealing with a pandemic situation. So I think that we are preparing for that. So this is where we have some challenges, and as we will speak about our own cooperation in the region, how to change the tourists from those countries to tourists from other countries, and as also European Travel Commission representative told us. But I think that as a Europe, we also could send a stronger message, and from the tourism sector perspective, not only neighboring countries here, but also more European countries could send a message on their approach for the tourists coming from Russia. And I would say that approach that was stated in that hotel in Tbilisi is pretty, I would say, good. So we can use it way more across the world.
Okay, thank you very much. And just before giving the also opportunity to jump in, I would like to inform that we will also be glad to get any questions from the audience. So we will, I know I see you there. So we'll, after this round, we'll also open up the possibility for the questions from the audience. And now, anyone would like to reflect on the war aspect of tourism?
Yeah,
yes, please.
We have also similar examples with hotels, but when thinking about our situation, then I would go back before COVID times. Then we actually realized that Ukraine was becoming a popular traveling destination for Estonians, and we also used to have direct flights to Kiev, Lvov, Kharkiv, and of course many Estonians just liked Odessa, and we have so many positive experiences. But we will definitely want to have again after war. But of course, in this current situation, we are with Ukraine in our thoughts and also deed. We will continue to offer Ukraine every assistance. And also we just at the beginning of June, we had a kick-off meeting of the Ukrainian-Estonian cooperation program to support post-war reconstruction in the Zhytomyr region. So our government and also we see our entrepreneurs, our companies, there were more than 40 companies around the table discussing the opportunities, how to help to reconstruct Ukraine and also the infrastructure, tourism infrastructure indeed. And of course, we are wanting to help with our experience and know-how. So we assume that then when the war is over, our Estonian tourists and also all tourists all over the world have a desire to support Ukraine and to travel to Ukraine. Maybe it's going to happen in any case. We have it's like a natural for us, as we have many connections, our family connections, friends connections, also business connections. We, at least in Estonia, we are so strongly connected that maybe it will come anyway, or by natural ways. So this is our point.
Thank you very much. So now I hear one dimension is a stronger, stricter position on the people coming from regimes who are actually now currently involved in the war. One, and the other dimension is ourselves proactively participating in restoration of Ukrainian ecosystem and being part of Ukrainian ecosystem as travelers or as supporters of Ukrainian reconstruction. Yeah.
This topic in the presentation, what we saw, there was a saying to be brave to support Ukraine, and in this case, definitely the sanctions is one of the main objects how we can support and don't looking for any possibility to ease them. We are facing also in tourism problems with the sanction companies. There's a big tourist operator was under the sanctions, what crushed the part of the market. Also two sanatories, what is very big employers in Jūrmala city is closed down, but those are the costs what we need to pay in this situation. In the meantime, we are speaking more likely for the Russia, but the Belarus also is a big neighbor of at least of Lithuania and Latvia, and the latest regulations for ease to border crossing from Latvian side, and we are starting to see that there's a lot of neighboring residents who is driving to Belarus, and that's a small support to Belarus, and we are looking to close down this option to drive to Belarus for buy-ins and other things. Those are minor issues, what makes difference, at least in the country, and understanding of importance to stay strong in these terms. That's pretty much it.
Thank you. And now turning to once again to zooming out a little bit to European level. My question is maybe a little bit provocative. I will allow myself to ask the question. Do you think Europe is ready to take a stronger stance when it comes to Russian tourists coming to Europe? And the other thing is, how do you think, what is the European role in reconstruction in Ukraine? Because we see these two streams of actions right now occurring in our discussion. One is how we deal with Russian tourists coming to Europe, and then enjoying, our sunny beaches and enjoying our infrastructure, and then later on supporting back the war that is killing people in Ukraine. On the other hand, is how are we going to help Ukraine that is not yet part of European Union, but still a very strong partner of ours?
Yes, important question. So first, this week normally when I say this week, it's today, the European Commission should give its opinion about Ukrainian application to become a candidate country to the EU. There was a visit yesterday, so it is beyond my payroll, and it is for the President von der Leyen to announce that, but I think, okay. So it is certainly the vocation of Ukraine. So that's one thing. What can we do to help now Ukraine in terms of tourism? And your presentation was very, very clear. I learned a number of things. What we are doing now, tourism in Ukraine is at the stop for a large part. So, but you have a number of highly qualified people. If they come to the European Union, it makes a difference. They are entitled to take a job. It makes a difference if they can work at their level of qualification. Because then that will generate revenues, and remittance can be sent back to the family to the support the war effort. So that's why the European Commission has published a guide for fast-track recognition of Ukrainian qualification, because not all employers or academy know about the equivalent. So that we have done. The other things that we have done is to free money from the European Social Fund to get money to train Ukrainian refugees that were not in tourism, but we need that in a number of countries so that they can enter the labor market. We have also, and it's a way to help indirectly, we have free money. It's called the CARE program. It's Cohesion Action for Refugees in Europe, for hotels that are hosting long-term refugees, for exhibition centers, so they can get money to help them and share the burden with, because most Ukrainian refugees are in the neighboring countries. So that is something the EU can do and is doing to express its solidarity. Promotion, I have discussed that too. We have other interesting examples. We have what is called the European Neighborhood Instrument. It was for Belarus, for Ukraine, etc. And then we can repurpose money. There were money, for instance, in the previous program, there was something, just because we have a Polish guest, there was the Twin Monasteries project between a monastery in Ukraine and in Poland, and it was about a cultural route, religious route. So those partners are now not into tourism, but doing other things. So the idea is that money that was invested into tourist development product, those routes, can move with the same partners for other purposes. You asked me now, it's a more tricky question about the Russian tourism. So basically, I think that was seen by all. The EU moved much more quickly, never quickly enough, but in terms of sanction, and this has never done before. So in terms of support, sanction, what we have hundreds of people on that are barred from coming to the European Union. And here it's important that we continue to distinguish between the regime, the government, so the Russian Federation as a state, and the Russian citizens. So especially because a number of Russian citizens are living in Europe sometimes because the air of Moscow was not too good for them before the invasion. So it's an example, a number of people moved out of Russia after the aggression against Ukraine for that reason. We have a number of communities, so some destinations are more, well, Finland, so that's globally speaking, but when we think, I was mentioning Spain, when you go to Altea, in close to Alicante, 50% of the population are residents. So it's not tourists, it's basically people who retired and put their money. Cyprus, Limassol, etc. So for them, they are not on the sanction list, but it's difficult for them to stay, not because of our sanction, but because the Russian government has decided that to support the ruble, to make it much more difficult to just to convert your ruble into euro and to send that money to Spain, etc. So we see a number of problems, local problems, but all the signal we get is that, okay, there is a price to pay, but the aggression against Ukraine means that this is a price we are ready, nobody is complaining about those consequences or asking to reopen that question. So then, again, it's part of my role, the Commission role is looking at what is happening with Russian tourists. If you look, for instance, at the bookings, premium bookings, first class, business class for the Middle East, before the Russian aggression against Ukraine, 10%. Sorry?
War.
No, sure. No, it's just like military aggression. Well, it's part of the language of war. The Russian, we are discussing high end of the market, so a 5-star hotel, important for your country as well. They are on average big spenders. So we move from 10% booking by Russians to 30%. We are discussing premium class, business first class. So we know they are going there. We know that the Turkish airlines have registered much higher bookings. So basically those who can still afford to travel among Russians, they go to Turkey, they go to Dubai, etc. And then the other thing, this very week, you had the kind of, they call that the Davos, the Russian Davos in St. Petersburg, when they invited Chinese, Egyptian, making promises about, okay, so we cannot go to Europe, we don't want to go to the European Union. You know, we had 1 million Russians going to Egypt. Of course, Egypt, the price were depressed. Turkey, the inflation was so high that the Turkish currency was cheap for the Russian. But the Russians are instrumentalizing that with those countries that are not among the like-minded countries. So basically, to answer your question about sanction, it costs. We are losing the Russian market, but that cost, nobody is discussing that is a need. We should distinguish between those on the sanction list, those who are supporting the regime, and those who are commoners, and they're exposed to a lot of propaganda. On the BBC, Mr. Lavrov made an interview that is completely, referring to fake news all the time, etc. So no need to make a picture. But then we need to see that basically when we close our market, it does not mean that Russia does not continue to travel or try to attract travelers, and they are trying to use their link with Beijing also, in addition to Turkey and Egypt. This is the picture, the information I can share with you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we heard some notions that, nobody wants to go to Europe. Why would you go to Paris or Barcelona when you can go to Magadan and Krasnoyarsk and the beautiful pearls of Siberia, So nobody wants to go to Europe, of course. And now I would like to open up floor for some questions. I know there's a gentleman there, and I see a couple of hands over there. So please state your question and to whom you are addressing that.
I am Richard Garuolis. I am the chairman of Trade Union of Guides and Tour Leaders. And I would like to ask our guest from Latvia, and I must notice that one guest said that tourism is also education, not only entertainment, but also education. And me personally, and many of my friends are leading tourist groups from Vilnius to Tallinn. And we sometimes stop in Latvia and we see how works Latvians guides. And most Russian speakers guides retell Russian Kremlin propaganda. For example, the best time for Latvia is Soviet occupation. Now Russian speakers suffer huge discrimination from Latvian side, and Riga is a Russian-German city, without Latvians. And the problem that these guides, also as inhabitants of European Union, have rights to work in Lithuania. And they widespread this Moscow disinformation and in Lithuania. And so my question, what are you doing, Latvian government are doing, to protect your tourists who are going to Latvia from this disinformation? We, guides in Lithuania, propose guides ethic code, similar like journalist ethic code, that would not allow such unfair guides to work. Thanks.
Okay, thank you very much. So the question about the information that is spread by guides, yeah.
I understood. Thank you for pointing out such an issue, and I'm really sorry that we have such a huge 5-colon in our country, and we haven't done it. We haven't done a lot in these years. Thank God, at this point, when everybody has opened their eyes, we can now change a lot of things in our policies. For example, for education in Latvian, only in Latvian language. That's other topic. And if we are speaking about the guides, it's the authorization of the guides goes for the municipality. And when you are going for a test, you can pass it by telling what you need to tell. And otherwise, when you go to the street, then you can propose your propaganda as you wish. At this point, we understand that we need to be more active to take out such a guides with inner customers, like the secret customer policy, to make and understand which of such persons are, and just cut it out. And thank you for mentioning that.
Okay, thank you very much. We have a gentleman back there. So please, let's try to keep our questions brief so we can get more of that, because we have also several.
Laba diena. My name is Vladislavs Karyagins. I represent the company Baltic Travel Group. We're incoming and outgoing travel company with offices in Riga, Tallinn, and Vilnius. So I have very straight question. You know, after 24th of February, many colleagues from travel business, also present here, came to the office and saw a lot of cancellations. So the figures shows that about 80% of the tourist groups which were planned to come to the Baltic states were cancelled. The same refers to MICE groups. Many conferences have been cancelled, and many also cruise ships with American tourists has been cancelled. So for this year we can forget about American market, about Australian market, about Japanese market, about Spanish market, about Italian market, about French market, about German market. So a lot of businesses has cancelled. The representative from Latvian Ministry of Economy said that there are some diaspora business. Unfortunately, diaspora business doesn't stay in hotel and doesn't use services of travel agents because they speak local languages and they do not use the services of travel industry. So my question is very straight. Do you think it's possible to provide any support for the companies who suffered the losses, who suffered the cancellations, because these companies have been under, let's say, under bad financial burden for 2 years during COVID, but during COVID at least there was some help. Now, after the situation in Ukraine, there is almost no help for the companies who suffered. There is some help in Latvia when it comes to marketing, but it's not enough to keep the staff and to keep the office running. And I think my colleagues in Lithuania who are also in this hall fully agree with me in this point. So,
okay,
are you going to help us, and how? Thank you.
I'm just interested. I think it's a very good question. For me, at least personally, would be very interested to see the statistics of 80% drop in the cancellations. If there, that's an interesting number for us also to take into account. Okay, we understand. Yes. Fantastic. Okay, thank you. So, anyone to reflect? I don't know.
I can start in
taking
this point. Yes, sure, we are aware in ministry about these numbers, and they are shocking. But probably you're also seeing that in July the reservations is starting to grow up and reaching about 60% of the post-COVID time, and those are good signs of it. Definitely in this situation, when we are receiving just short booking times, and we are losing aboard customers from mentioned markets like United States and other far distances, it doesn't sounds very, forgot the name in English, but probably I could say it in Latvian, but it also won't help. But definitely, we are now in a wartime, yeah, and everybody knows that nothing is predictable in this situation. So if July shows us better numbers, it also could be good in August, and things could be better. From the government side, we cannot just say that we will increase the support, rising the inflation and other stuffs. in these matters. So what I see from the ministry, that we are more and harder working in marketing to address to those markets what we have lost now for the group markets, and we will work even harder in that position.
Okay. Also, brief reflections, and after that we'll take the last question because we're almost
Yes.
running out of time. Yeah.
Yeah, from Estonian side, we could also say that we are aware about this longer term problems. Yeah, right now there are last minute bookings, but what will happen in autumn, what will happen next year, we don't actually know. And we also know that there are different possibilities under discussion in our government. The situation is that there are coalition negotiations right now. We don't know the results. But what we can do and what we are doing is sharing the positive image of our region, and not just saying that it is safe to visit, but we are bringing media and product tours to Estonia to see journalists, to write, to feel that it is actually safe to promote.
Thank you, Vincent. 1-2 sentences.
Okay, I am totally with what the colleagues said, and I think that we will have the time to discuss it during our meeting internal with representatives from the ministers. But also I would like to mention that the challenges are big, and not only for tourism but also for some other sectors, and the resources are very limited. And this is the situation where everyone has to recognize that we have to make a decision whether we should invest our limited resources to adapting to the situation, or whether we should use those resources to solve today's problem. And I think that, of course, we are helping and supporting, and even this spring a little bit helping incoming tour operators with I agree, not very significant amount of money, but even though some. But also we should think, and what we are doing is once again what Kuli said from Estonia, working with marketing, working with bringing tour operators, journalists to our countries. And I think that is very important, because we cannot think about supporting the businesses year after year after year, because that is not also healthy for the ecosystem, and we should adapt to this new, sadly new and strange world. But this is our number one task, what we should do.
Okay, I know there are lots of questions, and I see new hands raised, but I will ask to continue on the discussions during the coffee break, because right now we have time for coffee and for debates and discussions with our honorable panel. And I think, to sum up the discussion is always the question, and I'll finish up on the biblical metaphor. It's a question about combination of fish and fishing rods. And I think right now we have to find the suitable combination, how much fish the government has to provide and how many fishing rods we have to distribute for the new lakes and rivers for our catch. So I would like to sincerely thank the panel and the colleagues from member states and European Commission. So thank you very much, and round of applause for them. And right now we have a 15-minute break to continue on the conversation, and after that we will invite you to have the business discussion, because right now you have the politicians, and then we'll have a business discussion on the same, more or less fundamentally the same questions. And after the discussion, actually the moderator of the discussion, it's a very interesting fact, the moderator will be Latvian, Mr. Aldis Kuškis, who actually wrote a book about tourism during the pandemic. And after the business panel discussion, you will have the possibility to actually get his book with his signature if you want. So this is the little treat for your patience and participation in our conference. So thank you very much. Enjoy the discussion and enjoy the coffee. Thank you once again, and see you next to the coffee machine. Thank you very much for everyone. I hope I got some comments that the coffee break is very short, but I have to assure you that you will have time to reflect and to have a conversation after our final culmination of our event. And we are trying to keep a little bit of this Nordic way of time management, so that's why we are trying to keep everything in balance. And now, after the politicians speaking, I would like to invite for business to speak and discuss the matter, because in most of the cases, rarely the politicians are the ones who are attracting people to come to countries, and sometimes it's the opposite. So that's why I think businesses are key and essential aspect of this equation, how to attract people come to our region and how to help Ukraine. So that's why I would like to, first of all, to invite the moderator of the discussion, Mr. Aldis Kuškis, travel designer, who will be moderating the discussion. Round of applause. Also from Estonian business side, we have Millu Maidla, CEO of Estonian Hotel and Restaurant Association. Hello. From Finland, we have Mia Vilpula, the product manager of Association of Finnish Travel Industry. Welcome.
Online?
She will be online, if I'm correct, yes. So I don't still see her, but I think we will see her just in 1 second. And hi, hey. Looking good. Seems sunny. Seems sunny in Finland.
In Mexico. I feel like I'm in Eurovision Song Contest, but hello.
Thank you. So to 12, will you announce the points yourself, or we will see that on the screen?
Yes, on the screen, yes. Soon.
Okay, perfect. Then I would like to invite Madam Žydrė Gavelienė, the President of Chamber of Tourism of the Republic of Lithuania. And we are very honored to have Polish side as well. And I would like to invite Paweł Niewiadomski, the president of the Polish Chamber of Tourism. And from the Ukrainian side, we have Alla Nikitchenko, the manager of the ARC Tour, incoming DMC and tour operator to Ukraine. So we have a very colorful and very broad representation of business representatives from Finland, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Poland, and Ukraine. And this is a very diverse group, and I wish you the best of luck in your fruitful discussion. So the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I start my 1 hour phone clock and try to keep the tabs on it. We have a few questions, and I will try to keep like 20 minutes for one, 20 minutes for a second, and 20 minutes for Q&A if there is any. Then we would be happy to set the format. First of all, when the whole Europe is fully booked, it's overbooked, it's hot. We are living in how to politely say, deep in shade. Not hot, we are in shade, protected from the tourists. Our discussion could be 2 ways. One way is to do it politely, kind of compliment each other, how smart and beautiful we are, and state the obvious, how smart we are. Or second, provoke each other and you for thinking. And I believe if colleagues will agree, then I propose the second way how to do it. And for those 2 questions which are in your program, how to earn more money and how to promote better, I would like to talk through the ethical travel angle, because there is no other more ethical thing apart of money. money is the biggest indicator of ethics and moral. As you know, we have a sustainable travel concept already from late 80s, and for many people the word sustainability became something like a nightmare, but it's inescapable and unavoidable. If tourism industry in the world is not sustainable, then we will cease to exist in the nearest 10-20 years. Next step, and if you don't like the word sustainability, is ethics, where all the sustainability three pillars, environment, social, economics, is involved. We go next step. The next step is to talk about money in ethical way. Ethical travel destinations. Colleagues, what you think? What's the ethical travel destination? Probably, Žydrė, you could start as a home base.
Thank you, and hello to everyone. Nowadays, about ethical travel, when we plan, we have to think, of course, about Ukraine first of all. And we can talk loudly that we can rebuild the country, but without investing everyone into the travel, into the supporting local communities, it doesn't happen. Before pandemic, it happened so that Ukraine was one of most favorite destination, and we had many groups, not only leisure groups and business groups and events and conferences, not only in Lviv and Kiev. Of course, there were other destinations, but let's understand clearly that sustainable travel is the thing which brings people, money, and peace to the destinations. To answer your question about ethical travel, I think, first of all, we have to be sustainable ourselves. Secondly, we have to support others.
Thank you, Žydrė. May I kindly ask Mia, your previous work experience and professional jobs were all around the world, including Africa, which long years are champions of ethical travel. Could you tell your ideas?
Yes, of course. I was introducing myself, we do long-haul trips, so from Finland to Latin America to Africa, like you said. Sustainability, for example, in Costa Rica has been in the top for a long time. I feel like we do have to kind of create the demand, because the consumers don't know what they can buy if we don't let them know, you know. They go in Africa, like you were referring to Africa, in the national parks, the park fees, they go into the conservation. There's a lot of local school projects where we help with our local DMCs to build schools, libraries, better healthcare. There's lots that we can do as a travel professionals.
Thank you. Probably Žydrė mentioned the Ukraine as a #1 ethical travel destination in years to come. How you think this could help to look at your destination, Ukraine, together with the Poland, because long-haul passengers not coming just for one country probably, and then put together Ukraine and Poland, or even more wider with the Baltic states?
Yeah, first of all, thank you very much for invitation to participate in this event by my partner from Lithuania, Žydrė. We are in business with her for many years already. And what I'd like to tell you, we are incoming to operate a DMC company in Kiev. We are one of the biggest one. We are on the market not above, but more than 28 years already. So during this period, you know, we were experienced in different kind of business. So we provided services for many groups from all over the world. We
also arranged different events. So I was twice official tour operator of World Economic Forum, which took place in Ukraine twice, one in 1991, I guess, if I remember well, and the other one 2007. And many, many other events in Ukraine. We also are very much experienced in sport events. We were official tour operator for the supporters during 2012 Euro Cup in Kiev. As well, we were ground handlers for the majority football club, European football clubs, because everybody knows Ukraine is very famous of its club, Dynamo Kiev and Shakhtar, and football is very popular in our country. So, and it was very pleasant to meet with very outstanding people like Franz Beckenbauer, Kaiser, David Beckham, and to see them just and to know them in person. So, and we also provided services for many groups. And about your question, how I see how we can combine all our destinations, I'll tell you. To my thought, first of all, it can be very interesting for groups, for tourists from overseas. I'll tell you just this information. During some years, we had many groups from Taiwan. And what is very important in this issue, these people are coming to Europe not for 2-3 days. They're coming for more than 10 days. And we arrange, for example, for Taiwanese groups, we arrange long itinerary and very interesting program, including they came to Kiev, from by plane to western part of Ukraine, and then by bus from Chernivtsi via Frankivsk to Lviv. But from Lviv, it was 10 days tour in Ukraine, and then they went by plane to Belarus, which is now closed for tourism. So even before war, before all this event, as soon as it happened, situation in Belarus, I offered my beloved partner, as Travel Lithuania, listen, please think about program in Baltic states, not only in Lithuania. So these groups can stay in Ukraine for some 8 days, whatever, 10 days. Then to go to Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia. So we can arrange a round-trip flight. They can come to Kiev with Lufthansa or with Turkish Airlines, and with the same lines, they can go home. So it's good for them not to change airlines, not to pay extra money for that. And I talked about that with my Taiwanese partners, and they were ready to discuss with me this project. But then suddenly, sorry, happened what happened. But I think after all this horror will be over, we shall create something interesting in this way. With Poland as well. We have big partners and good business in Poland as well. So I think we should think about.
If we are talking about earning more money for the industry and hopefully rising the expenditure from the travelers, which the state is interested, do you think, Kilo, probably question more to you, do you think the ethical travelers bring more money than the other travelers which are not so aware, not so sophisticated? Do the sustainability thinking and ethical travel-minded travelers bring more money?
Not always.
But in general?
In general, I would hope so. But when you ask this question, then I have pictures of these very much, the Russian tourists who spend a lot of money on shopping. and traveling from one destination to another and bringing back those international brand labels right now. So I would say that I hope that ethical travels will bring more money, and they will find the companies and businesses which support their ideas. And but I would say that it's not now.
It's not today.
It's not today.
Tomorrow.
I
Žydre,
hope so.
I feel that you have something.
And you know, that was research done by Travel Lithuania or Keliauk Lietuvoj, that people who are coming via tour operators, incoming people, they tend to spend more because they are staying longer. They are going to visit local communities. They are buying from the local artists, and they are spending money in local cafes. I mean, not branded ones. And they do choose hotels who are sustainable. That's not only upcoming; it's already existing.
And I agree that staying longer is actually the key word.
Yes.
That don't come for just a few hours,
No.
hop on, hop off.
And the local
Have the time to enjoy.
The money to the local community is the most important. This is the money of a traveler. 20% gone to the airlines. Local community, forget about it. 10% goes to whom? Thank you, that's me. 10% goes where? Thank you, colleagues, DMC. Do you know the term the tourism leak? The tourism leak are two different ways. One is tourism leak, import tourism leak, which is when we import French champagne, Scotch, Samsung, and everything what we import when we eat, when we stay. 10%, 20%. Export leak. You know, the luxury hotels say we have 15 staff for the 15 rooms, and our English GM is leading all this. Those 50 people receive the same amount like this 50 English, American, French, hopefully someday Estonian, Latvian, Lithuanian GM, because the salaries are different, and they take those salaries and bring away. The same about the investors. Thank you, investors coming here, building the hotels. 20%, tourism leak, export.
You already passed 100%.
No, I believe there is some 20% left. Taxes, national taxes, not always going to the local. Local logistics. Buses, trains, whatever. Gas for those buses goes where? Saudi Arabia. By the precise data from the United Nations, World Travel Organization, 5% stays in local community. It's nothing. It's peanuts. Pavel, can we double it? How we could double it as a tourism industry? How we could double it?
Well, of course, it's what we are talking about almost every day. You have very nicely pointed out how the travel sector works and what is actually going through all the value chain, which finally is at the end the 5% you were talking about. Well, it's very difficult from the perspective of Poland, where you have the economy based on coal, to discuss the issues of sustainability. But of course, this is one of the most important things we are doing in our chamber, which is actually the Association of Travel Agents and Tour Operators, where we are advising and advocating the ethical behavior and the sustainability behavior of our members. By saying this is we are showing what some of the, for example, some of the hotel chains are doing, especially with the international brands. One of them, and it's quite a large one, I'm not going to disclose the name because I have, by the way, very good rates there. What can I do because, you know, of shortage of rooms? But, you know, what we are showing our members, and supposedly they pass on to clients also, is the fact that, for example, this chain, what they did is they, because it's a big one, what they're doing, they're importing food from a neighboring country and organizing, you know, all this chain all over Poland to supply their hotels with food.
Importing food to Poland.
Importing food to Poland. This is something totally. It's unbelievable, and I know that the reaction and also the pressure on this company was very, very big, and they have stopped doing so. So this is the way, you know, you can try to you know, to for the local communities to benefit from travel and tourism. I just wanted to give you an example, and of course, when doing the outgoing sector, this is what we are also promoting, is to try to experience the way of living of the communities, to amalgamate with them, to link also to, for example, you know, not to pay children in a far destination of one of the Asian countries, but maybe to bring them some kind of you know, even sweets and information about our countries, to deliver information on the culture, etc. And this also helps contribute to the well-being of the local community. You know, to double, it's you're asking how to double. It's not it would not really be much, because if we have 5% and we could turn another additional 5% into the local community, that would be a very, very good.
There is one way: lose the agent. They lose the agent, lose the DMC, make a direct booking.
Well, are you really sure that this makes?
We are
you
here,
know,
the tourism industry. We are living in the age where there is a booking.com, where there is a Airbnb, there is a direct booking to the.
But DMC
directly.
is more local than booking is.
No. I mentioned it to everybody.
And like the
Direct booking.
excursions,
Yes.
the excursions, and all the. Can I speak?
Yes,
No?
yes, please.
Oh, yes, I wasn't sure. Yeah, so we actually can provide them the local experience, the from farm to table experiences, the homestays. Even for the high-end clients, we have homestays booked few days, few nights during the itinerary, and so I think even the consumer can get a lot more when booking through an operator.
Yeah, thank you, Mia.
DMC.
Žydrė?
Yes, I would like to add, when we are talking about simple traveler who doesn't have any special, not so-called special needs, but does not feel experiencing local life, yes, it's okay to book via booking.com, Airbnb, whatever you say. I just would like to remind you, 26th of February, 24th, war started in Ukraine. Who were the first ones to help Ukrainian people to come back to their country? In Lithuania, that was travel sector. All the charter operators who used to bring people abroad, they took all the empty seats and they offered to Ukrainian people free of charge. Who were those who were hosting first nights? And I'm turning travel the hotels here in Lithuania. It was not booking.com who came offering the empty room, or that was not even Airbnb. They came later on, but thousands and thousands of people were accommodated free of charge, brought free of charge to Lithuania, supported with the food and with the first aid by Lithuanian people and state. And when you please think second time about mentioning who is supporting real local communities, investing into infrastructure, definitely not booking.com, not Airbnb.
It is a DMC with the local knowledge. It is the travel agent, advisor, travel designer with the local knowledge. Just my question was probably too much provocative, with the very clear answer. And my message to the state agencies, when they think about the Airbnb as a business, Airbnb brings in the local economy this, and simple bed and breakfast brings this, because Airbnb is just the rental money. Guest house, bed and breakfast makes another services included, and so on, so on. Actually, there was the Pavel mentioned it, and probably the Mia could give her thoughts about international brands versus the local owner operator, which is the kind of one issue which we raised as a very sharp issue even in the Baltic states or in the travel industry worldwide, because thank you, Marriott, they made life possible for us here just 10 days ago. 10 days ago, Marriott quit, announced quitting Russian market. Hyatt did that 1 month ago. Accor, Kempinski, Four Seasons, whatever other big chains, they are working and not planning go away from Russia. We are giving our money to the all Accor chain, Four Seasons and Kempinski. Do we? Yes, because the contract and everything. Mia, how you think is it an issue? Because we want to earn money. We are here to do the business.
Yes. Well, in general, what we sell, we prefer more like the local B&Bs. Like I said, I mentioned homestays. Of course, we do sell chain hotels as well, and in some destinations, that's pretty much the only option. But we try to look always like a smaller boutique hotel. Then again, thinking about the sustainability, what you mentioned, that's a big issue. Because then again, like I think for the climate state, thinking about the climate, a lot of the big hotel chains, they do have really good programs. So that's what I've always been kind of in the middle, which is good and which is not good. But then again, mentioning that these chains were not coming out of the Russian market, I think then that's also, because we can also choose what to offer to our clients. Of course, if some client says, I want to stay in Four Seasons Hotel, will I say, oh, I'm not going to offer that to you because of this? I don't think so.
Sometimes we could raise the question, dear client, are you aware that
Yes.
your lovable Four Seasons is still operating in Moscow, receiving the money from Russians, and even not planning go away? You know, I heard in a previous panel that the using, by my opinion, the wrong expression, that we are making political decisions in our professional life. Those are not political decisions. Those are ethical, moral decisions. Political, I don't care, the left or right, the socialists, okay, probably not so much about communists, but still, socialists or right or left. We do ethical, we should think. And why I said in the early, the ethics is the biggest indicator in money. I could talk about everything a lot, but I lose some money choosing the other property instead of Four Seasons? Pavel, I think
Yes, I think Poland is a good example in the Polish travel market. But first of all, from the perspective of my chamber, you know, one of our first decisions which we took after the war in Ukraine started is that we expelled from the chamber the companies that have any kind of link with Russian capital. This was the first choice because we thought it would not be ethical to have them as our members. And the second thing which you were just saying, it is actually a reality. I mean, clients, they ask, you know, if we go to Turkey, are there going to be Russian tourists there?
More than ever.
And supposedly, so you know, then there is a chance also, you know, to swap and to switch to another country, the conscious traveler, the mind of the traveler, and this is actually what is happening in my country. We cannot really take, you know, like a sharp decision not to send people to hotels where there are Russians, but also we are also showing the other side. If someone really wants to go to Turkey, you know, also this is a message to politicians, which I would now like to convey. You know, when there is an outgoing traveler, he's a natural promoter of your country, of the possibility to also be an incoming client in the future, to bring incoming clients in the future. So, you know, also from the perspective of my history, of the history of my country and our countries, the history is very similar. You know, if people really want to go to Turkey, then we say, okay, of course, it's in an indirect speech, like, you know, if you see Russian people, maybe you can, you know, discuss a little bit about the situation. You know, if it is, but you know, if it hadn't been
okay, but there is no white and black and white.
Yeah, but you know, this is
nice,
also
but, many people run away from Moscow. Our cultural media live in Latvia. And so on. But
yeah, but you know, one last thing. You know, if it hadn't been for the possibility of Poles traveling 40 years ago, you know, to foreign countries, and we're not really that much closed by the system then, it would not have been possible for us, you know, to really see what the world is like. Yeah. And this is what I'm trying to say.
In some knowledge. That leads us to the bringing in. We are looking for those travelers who will spend more money here or more money for the local travelers, for the local community, for local owners. What's your thoughts about what kind of travel we in Ukraine, in Poland, in the Baltic countries, to the Nordic region, want? From which ones we could earn more? And my kind of stress point question is, what kind of the conscious experiences, mindful, slow travel? You are feeling in my voice, huh? I love them. Or Instagrammable sightseeing. Instagrammable sightseeing gives a bigger media exposure than the mindful. Mindful people do the pictures and not post so much in social media. Which ones we should target? But if we want the first ones, then we don't promote to them, then we don't receive them.
If I may, you know, Alice, I do not agree with you. There is no black and white. Those conscious travel, they as well put the pictures on their Facebook account just to show how beautiful their destination is and how do they feel well about it. And opposite, you know, I think travel is the best educator. And we have to start from this point. And we have to educate people daily. And coming back to your last question, you know, I wanted to interfere as well. We cannot do political decisions, but we can do daily decisions. To sell one or another tour operator, to sell to one or another country, to educate the traveler as well. So we have big power, and money comes with the power.
Okay, how big advantage is the Michelin stars, sustainability labels, eco, in Ukraine that already became something?
Listen, you know, everything is important here in any destination. As we are talking about Ukraine with its diversity, we can organize any kind of tours, just cultural tours, leisure tours, gastro tours, religious tours, nature lovers tours, whatever. I tell you, and special tours as well. You know, after Chernobyl, this terrible tragedy, world tragedy, we had such a boom of excursion there from European tourists. You know, I'm afraid to go there. I've never been there, and I'm not going to. But we have so many tourists from Switzerland, Germany, Great Britain, and we organized for them special Chernobyl tours. People came to Kiev with the program in Kiev, and we included one-day trip to Chernobyl. They could go there as individuals or with the groups. We combine them, just get according to their language, common language. It's first thing. And that's why I think that after this horror now, after this war, it will be boom of trips to Ukraine, because people, they would like to see by their own eyes what happened in this beautiful country, with its hospitable people, with its great history and world treasures. And you know, we had many people, groups from United States, and sometimes they say, oh yeah, Kiev, you have not such a, it was many years ago, not now, not such level of life as we have there in our country. I say, okay, but you do not have any one monument historical more elder than 200 years old. And we have Saint Sophia Cathedral in Kiev, the 11th century UNESCO heritage, which is in UNESCO heritage list. We have Lavra Monastery. We have another different things you never seen in your country, and you will not see them during some centuries.
Yes, Pavel?
Well, actually, part of it you already said, because, you know, there's always sunshine after rain, and we really need to think positive about what is going to happen. I really do hope in the very near future. And I think one of the sectors or branches of travel and tourism, which has a very strange name, and it's called thanatotourism, which, you know, reflects, and you go to, first of all, to commemorate what happened in the destinations. And we have a lot of, you know, now when we think currently about the situation in Ukraine, we really are thrilled, and we don't really know what to say even. But you know, we have a lot of examples all over the world where these places, which we are now crying about, they start becoming real destinations for travel. And this is actually what also I think it brings us all together here in this region. And I could namely say Ukraine and Poland, but it applies also to the Baltic states, that we have so much in common that, you know, promoting these destinations, and hopefully very soon also with Ukraine and all this
tragic past and the bright future.
Absolutely, absolutely. And one last thing, which is extremely important, you know, first you have to commemorate. You have to, you know, we've condemned what happened in Ukraine, but then you also, and this is the part of the educational story, you know, you have to show people, especially the younger generation, be conscious so that such things will never happen again.
Yeah, Kilo.
We are talking positively, but at the same time, our industry is not in positive shape. Let's be honest about it. We lost in Lithuania in travel sector. We lost 50% of our employees. And thinking about conscious travel, sustainable travel, ethical travel, without employees, you wouldn't do this. No chance to do this without employees. And here it comes a very important role by the state. Not only support this business to get more experienced employees, as well help them educate new employees. And third thing, when we support a lot Ukraine, and I'm really appreciating by our government doing this, but at the same time we have to change the direction, showing that our countries are safe and helping Ukraine and inviting tourists to come to our countries right now.
Yes,
Excuse me,
marketing is the king in this way.
Sorry, Eric left from the room, Eric from the EU Commission, and he mentioned that there is a fund, possible fund to our countries for communication, and definitely we have to participate in it.
Yeah, and Kilu, my idea was question, you are the, okay, let's talk positive, come on. You are the star in gourmet area. Do you think Michelin will help?
We already see that it helps. We already
It works.
see, talking to the restaurant owners, they say that basically one of the first influence was that locals started to book more those restaurants, which is also okay. But now during last 2 weeks, we also see huge increase of international tourists booking the Michelin restaurants. And for those 2 restaurants which received the stars, basically it's impossible for coming 2 months to find a table.
All right. From your opinion or experience, the sustainability labels, eco labels, are they in demand from the travelers or in demand from the professionals?
I would say that they are more in demand by travelers now, more than ever. And this is actually a very good motivation finally for the companies, because I feel that so far it's been pushed by government and the green key label, that they do the labels and so on. But we don't see that it somehow or in important matter influences the decisions of travelers. Now it's changing dramatically. We see that travelers demand and travelers see that if you have the label, but it's like a greenwash, that you don't do actually what you promise, they start talking about it. And so we see that it's a big change, and more companies, because of that, are now also motivated to get the labels.
Okay, Mia, I believe
Yeah.
your customers probably are the most sophisticated in terms of all the labels and sustainability. Do you think Baltic industry, Poland, and presumably in the near future Ukraine, for Finnish travelers, is sustainable destination, ethical destination?
Yes, why not? Of course, like it was said, Ukraine will be kind of very interesting destination, hopefully in the near future. I myself visited in 2019. I got to visit Kiev, and it was a beautiful city. So of course we can. I believe that in any destination we can sell ethical destination. I just wanted to say, I think we were talking back about like the Russians. I think the Russians, we have a lot of Russians in Finland. I have many Russian friends actually. So I'm kind of I just don't want that people say no to Russians, because you never know what opinion they have. So we can't really say that we don't want to sell for Russians, because a lot of Russians live in Finland, in Lithuania, in Poland. It's not their decision what is happening now.
Okay, probably we are in a time when our discussion would be interesting if some questions will come into from the audience. Hands, because we have 2 micros. Three girls and 2 micros. Yes, please.
Rasa Alexaite, guide for incoming from France and from French-speaking public tourists and English-speaking. And as well, I do speak Russian, but not so many tourists because when you speak English and French, your audience concentrated on those Francophone and English countries. So how do you think, for example, if you speak about local, small, sustainable, blah, 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 French people who do not speak any other language, is the Baltic countries market ready for Francophone people solitary traveling?
no notes in French, no explanations in museum in French, no audio guides in French, nothing in French. Without guide, without organized traveling, they are absolutely lost in the Baltics. Because, yes, for the first time, they are well explained by experienced guide. Then they fell in love in Baltic states, with Baltic states. Then they see that it's completely secure to come here, and especially necessary to have the direct flights from the destination. Because yesterday I already took to the airport the group from Lyon, and there were a normal flight, from example, Brussels Airlines, so Lyon, Brussels, Vilnius. Now that doesn't exist anymore. They have to fly to Frankfurt. In Frankfurt, they have to wait 6 or 7 hours to go to Lyon. How can you make the travel once again if people have to stay in the airport 10 hours, 5 hours?
Sorry,
So,
is it
yeah.
a question to the
Yeah,
national
to everyone,
airlines?
to everyone, and just
Learn
to you to,
languages.
yeah.
It's only,
No,
only answer is
just to
languages.
you to explain that first of all, the Baltic countries are not ready for non-English speaking customers.
Stating the obvious, yes. Are we ready to English or Russian speaking? Other languages, the guides and everything? No.
I'm sorry.
English is fine. English is fine.
I came here from Kiev, yeah, and I was for the first time here in Vilnius, and I tried to find some destination to go here, and I tried first. I asked Russian language because nobody understands Ukrainian language, so all young population here said, "Sorry, sorry, do you speak English?" Everybody said, "Yes." So the majority of Lithuania I met here speak English.
Yeah, but the lady said.
People, customers, they do not speak English. They speak only French.
Yeah, but the same.
Sorry, maybe I missed it.
Yes, can I answer?
Yeah.
Can I answer? You know, maybe a little bit controversial here, but we had this conversation also during coffee break. Well, I think it would be against your interests to have, you know, the francophonic titles, subtitles, and information. But of course, it is also a possibility for the organized travel to develop more and to cooperate more with tour guides.
Or some hotel who wants French, please, hoteliers. Introduce the French-speaking stuff, and you will be only one, and all the French people will stay with you. But I believe this panel is very competent, but we will not answer you why Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia do not speak French, because 95% of the world do not speak French. It's
But I
okay.
don't understand what's the
Brazilian,
problem.
Spanish, Chinese, and Arabic. But the world in general tend to speak English. If you don't speak English, sorry,
I
you
would
are in
also-
trouble.
No. I'd like to argue. Many people traveling from France speak perfectly English. Of course, those who don't speak, they tend to choose the organized travel and travel in groups, as they do from Japanese, from Italian market, from Spanish. If they don't speak international language, they know that traveling for them is a bit of hassle when they do that individually. Some people want to face it, want to live more dangerous life, but some people prefer to travel in groups, which is fine. And this is why you are here.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Perfect. May we
and
have
we
another
also
question,
we
please?
sell-
That's
Oh.
why I do argue that we can't concentrate only on new mode sustainable, but this individual travels. Necessary to have the agencies as well, the travel agencies as well, because there is part of people who are more insecure to travel in groups with organized tourism,
all the time.
And fully support. And what I would also like to add on top of that is that those EMCs and travel agents and tour operators are doing huge job to promote and market our destination. It's not only like what we do, the campaigns for the individual travelers and end users. It's a huge job what the EMCs and agents are doing.
Could the group travel could be sustainable and ethical?
Sure, without any doubt. It's even
No,
now.
all the time.
No controversy.
It's even now more sustainable and ethical, you know. There are, of course, groups and massive travel, and even massive travel can be sustainable as well. Can be, yes.
600-room hotel on a wild beach with the sustainability certificate.
Why would you like to put them on the one beach?
No. I'm asking because the big group stays in one big. Not in our countries. We don't have those hotels, luckily.
All groups should have some program.
Yes.
And all the DMC travel
Content.
contacts, you know.
Content makes something meaningful.
Tour through Booking.com with all the package of services they need. Okay, they can book hotel 1 to 3 people.
But are the
hotel for 50 people or 30? You can book through Booking.
Yes.
And then to provide this group with services, accommodation, okay, with some food, excursions, visits, you know. It's not possible to do without tour operator.
Yeah.
I'm sure for 100%.
It's a lot depends on us, on personally me and you about the traveling. If I choose the guide on the destination, when I'm going to the conference, if I have a chance to see local community and to support with my money this local community, we have a lot to learn from exotic destination. Let's take Bali. They have so many good projects and they can be implemented in Lithuania. But once more, I would like to stress, you know, that without state help, incoming tourism to Lithuania or to the Baltics
cannot exist.
Cannot exist.
That's the same in the whole world. I believe in Finland as well. You have a state support for the marketing. You cannot cover all the marketing costs yourself as a business.
Yes, for sure. We don't do any incoming tourism. We only do outbound. But I was listening this because 30% of our income is group tours. We do small group tours from 10 to 18 people. Of course, the most sustainable as we can. Many of our clients might not even speak English. They only speak Finnish. They go with the Finnish tour leader, and then we hire a local guide. We go and see local communities. So, you know, it's kind of the same as French people coming to the Baltics. It's Finnish people who don't speak no one else speaks Finnish than us, so, you know.
Welcome to Latvia, or Estonia, my friends.
Estonia. Well, Estonians actually speak quite good Finnish.
Okay. You could do. Questions? More? Ladies and gentlemen, I believe you will have still 1 hour for the networking and business meetings and asking questions to all of us. I'm grateful that the organizers bought the big bunch of my books, and I don't know, you stayed here because you are waiting. No, I'm joking. But still there is a book which I wrote together with the colleagues. It's probably the one and only book written by the travel advisor for travel advisors. Not about sales, but about the content, and few topics which we mentioned today, mostly sustainability and ethical travel, is based on that book as well. Please enjoy it and read it. It's for you. And thank you, dear panelists. Thank you online. Thank you, Mia, Kilo, Žydre, Pavel, Alla. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Before 1, 2. Okay, and thank you for the host of this very interactive and very live discussion once again. And of course, don't forget to grab the book. And we still have time in this lovely Friday afternoon. So use this also as an opportunity to mingle and to discuss and to continue on the conversation. I think honestly, I really still feel in the air this eagerness to chat, eagerness to connect, eagerness to discuss live for those who have the pleasure to be here today. So let's use this opportunity. Once again, I would like to thank the students from the Vilnius University of Applied Sciences from Ukraine and Lithuania who've been assisting us today. Thank you very much, and thank you for your patience. And let's meet in other events, hopefully live and in person. Thank you, and safe travels.
Thank you.